There was a man who seemed to have it all. He lived in a big house, drove a fancy car, and had plenty of money. People thought he was lucky because he could buy anything he wanted. But even with all these things, the man was not happy. He felt something important was missing in his life. Every day, he woke up feeling empty, wondering why all the things he owned didn't make him feel joyful or at peace. He thought success would bring happiness, but instead, he felt more lost than ever. The man knew he needed to find out why he felt this way, so he decided to look for someone who might have the answers. The man had heard about a wise saint who had recently come to his city. People said this saint could solve any problem and bring peace to anyone's heart. Feeling hopeful, the man decided to visit the saint. He thought maybe the saint could tell him why he felt so unhappy, even though he had everything. On a bright morning, he left his big, empty house and drove his fancy car through the busy streets. He reached the place where the saint was staying. The man saw that the saint was sitting calmly, surrounded by a few people listening to his words. The man waited for his turn, rehearsing in his mind what he would say. Finally, when it was his turn, he went up to the saint and shared his feelings. He told the saint about his car, his house, his money, and how he still didn't feel happy or at peace. He ended with a heavy heart, saying, "Now, you are my only hope. Please guide me." The man looked into the saint's eyes, searching for an answer to the emptiness he felt inside. After listening to the man's story, the saint nodded gently. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he stood up and walked into a small room nearby. The man waited, curious about what the saint would do next. A few moments later, the saint came back holding 3 balls in his hands. One ball was shiny and made of glass, another was smooth and made of ceramic, and the last one was bouncy and made of rubber. The saint handed the balls to the man and said, "Before I give you the solution, I have a small task for you. I want you to toss these balls into the air, one after the other, in such a way that at least one ball is always up in the air." The man was surprised by this request. He had come looking for wisdom, not to play a game. However, he didn't want to upset the saint, so he agreed. He started tossing the balls into the air, trying to keep at least one up at all times. At first it was easy, but as he focused on keeping the balls in motion, he found it more challenging than he expected. He had to concentrate hard to not let any of the balls fall. The task made him forget his worries for a moment, as he caught and tossed each ball, keeping them all moving smoothly in the air. As the man juggled the balls, he became more confident in his ability to keep them in the air. But then, the saint asked him a question that caught him off guard. "While you juggle," the saint said in a calm voice, "tell me, what is the one thing you would save if everything you valued was about to be lost?" The man's focus wavered as he tried to think of an answer. The balls began to move unpredictably, and he struggled to maintain control. Just then, the ceramic ball slipped from its path and started to fall toward the ground. Panicking, the man realized he could only catch 2 of the balls to prevent them from breaking. In a split-second decision, he let the rubber ball fall and caught the ceramic and glass balls. The rubber ball bounced harmlessly on the ground, but the man barely noticed. He was still trying to answer the saint's question in his mind. The exercise had suddenly become more than a simple task. It was a reflection of his life's choices. "Why did you choose to let the rubber ball fall?" the saint asked, breaking the silence. The man explained his reasoning, saying that the rubber ball wouldn't break if it fell, unlike the ceramic and glass balls. The saint listened to the man's explanation and then smiled gently. "You've just solved the problem you came to me with," the saint said softly. "These 3 balls represent the priorities in your life. The ceramic ball is your family and your own well-being. It's fragile and needs to be protected. The glass ball represents your job, your responsibilities, and your contributions to the world. It's important but can shatter if not handled with care. The rubber ball symbolizes the material possessions and luxuries, which can bounce back even if they fall." The man listened intently, the saint's words starting to sink in. He thought about his life, realizing he had been focusing too much on the rubber ball, chasing after success and material comfort. He had neglected the ceramic ball, his family, and his own happiness, which were the very sources of the peace and joy he was seeking. "The reason you feel unhappy," continued the saint, "is that you feared the rubber ball falling, but in reality, it's the only ball that can withstand a fall. You've been so busy keeping it in the air that you've risked letting the ceramic ball fall, not realizing that its breakage would cause the real loss." The man felt a mixture of emotions. Regret for the time lost, gratitude for the clarity he was now gaining, and a budding sense of hope. For the first time in a long while, he felt a shift inside him, a desire to realign his priorities. "Life is about balancing these balls as best as you can," the saint concluded. "But remember, when you find yourself in a situation where you can't keep all of them in the air, let the rubber ball drop. Your job, your money, your possessions can be replaced, but your family, your health, and your peace of mind are irreplaceable. The man stood there, holding the ceramic and glass balls in his hands, with the rubber ball at his feet. He finally understood what had been missing in his life. It wasn't success or possessions he needed more of. It was love, connections, and inner peace. This revelation filled him with a sense of purpose and direction he hadn't felt before. What we learned from this story is about understanding what truly matters in our lives. It teaches us that not everything we value has the same importance. The story shows that family and personal well-being, represented by the ceramic ball, are the most fragile and valuable aspects of our lives that we should protect above all else. Our job and responsibilities, like the glass ball, are important too, but they should not come at the expense of our happiness and relationships. Material possessions and luxuries, the rubber ball, can provide comfort, but are not essential for our happiness and can be replaced if lost. The key to a fulfilling life is to prioritize our health, happiness, and relationships over material success. When life becomes overwhelming and we can't keep everything balanced, we should remember which balls can bounce back and which ones can break. Letting go of the need to hold on to everything tightly allows us to focus on what truly brings us peace and joy. This story reminds us to cherish and protect our most valuable priorities, ensuring a life filled with true happiness and satisfaction.